After last Friday morning's effort, we went up to the National Gallery in London, Trafalgar Square. It was wonderful to see the old favourites, Constables and Turners, the Impressionists. Makes you want to give up, doesn't it? When you see the magnificence of some of this stuff. Anyway, here we are, back to reality. I've done this line drawing, line and wash I'm going to do. I used this matchstick, see that? Just a sharpened stick, roughed up with a bit of sandpaper and some ink. So it's just a country lane with a bit of a hedgerow here, some trees dividing the picture. I'll put a figure in and a field and some trees in the distance. So we'll, I'd like to have shown the drawing, but it's very easy. I used a brush for this heavier stuff, but it takes too long to upload with the network provider that I'm using at the moment. So I'm keeping it as simple as possible. So, wet in wet. Oops, some of the water's got into my tea. I'll move that. Right, wet it all over. I did the drawing this morning before I went out for my bike ride. Look, it's still picking up some colour. We went along the Wandle, as usual, with the mate. Men behaving badly, or old men behaving badly on bikes. Great fun. Good exercise. It's not far, it doesn't take a cup of tea halfway. That's Merton Abbey, if you know it. Right. Keep a bit of a cloth handy to take the excess moisture off your brush. And also keep your paint clean. Right, I'll put in a bit of warm raw sienna across all of this. And while that's wet, just go in with some ultramarine. All very simple. Because the painting is in the drawing, really. And we can mix a bit of light red with that. And have a bit of a cloud streaking across the sky here. Right, there that goes. Well, let that dry off a little bit. And I might use the hairdryer on it. I'll put a figure in here to give some scale to the trees. You can tell how big the landscape or everything else is in relation to it. I've just dried off a little bit so that I can put in my background trees, just a bit of Payne's grey and a bit of ultramarine blue. These are the hills in the distance. Going over the field. Okay. Nothing more needs to be done there. Now as that dries, we can strengthen up these trees here. Now the paper is expanding, so we'll reclip it. Now I'm using the Fabriano, £130, not hot pressed. It's quite a smooth paper, very nice paper, great for wet in wet, but not too great for dry brushing because it's really just a little bit smooth. But it really works well with the wet in wet. And I enjoy working. I buy it in blocks of 100 from Granthams. A good way to buy it. I'll just dry that off again. putting my green fields and the green grass, a bit of raw sienna and a bit of lemon yellow. Vary the colours. Leave a bit of sparkle. Bit of sienna. Warm it up. Okay. That'll do. And over here we'll put in a nice sunny field. Across there. Wind's getting up. Oh! It's starting to rain. Surprise. We haven't had any rain for about 10 days, 2 weeks, after the storms that we had for 6 weeks. Ah, my bike's uncovered. Oh, never mind. Right, now while that's drying off, I'm going to put in this background here. And then we can work on the big tree. Bit of dry brush. Bit of blue for the distant ones. Blue and a bit of Payne's grey, I think. Just heavier than the background. Stick. The Payne's grey is a great mixer with the ultramarine. Also very good with come down a bit low there. With burnt sienna. Same on the other side. All establishes distance. And I can paint back up into that. But I didn't want to do any of this sort of work in the distant trees. I put a bit of ink in with the brush. But I want to show the trunks in paint rather than with ink. So red and blue for the path. Get them while we can. Okay. That'll do. Right, now that's getting dry. I can put in some nice spring greens, because that's where we are. Spring greens. A bit of lemon yellow, a bit of raw sienna, and a little bit of Payne's grey. Right, just get some of that just stroked in there. And we can put some bluer greens to show on the shadow side of the yeah, that's what we need to do for that, really. And I think I might go into that with some ivy. But I won't use the hake for that. I'll use a round brush for that. I think we can go a little bit more with some wispy. Okay. Now rigger, a little swig of tea. To do a bit of calligraphy in those distant trees, Payne's grey, blue. We can just have that coming up here. It keeps these in the distance. You don't want to put any warm colours in with this, because it'll bring it forward when we want it to stay in the background. Oh, that's lovely. there's something here. Got to be dark enough to register. Nothing too obvious. Oh, it's quite heavy. There we are, now some small ones over here. Get enormous pleasure going out on a bike because it's obviously environmentally friendly. So I was putting some bushes up the back there. Edge of the rigger. You do need a little water. Okay, that'll do for that. Now with another brush, my number 10 and a swig of tea. I'll probably put a bit of a cloud shadow over that, from that. The lights, if we have the light coming across here, then I can show those trees coming across as a reflection, as a shadow. So if I want a darkish, warm tint in there, so burnt umber. My palette, if you don't know, from the other 300 odd videos, is lemon yellow, Payne's grey, lemon yellow, raw sienna, lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna. That's my palette. You don't have to make it yours, you find your colours you like. But once you've found your colours and you're happy with them, stick to them and find out all the things that they can do, all the mixes. I've found from experience that it doesn't do to constantly change colours or add colours to your palette, because it just complicates an already complicated subject. Alright, just make that blue yellow in there, I think. The yellow. Okay, now we'll just put a bit of warm hedgerow in here. We're going to use a bit of red and yellow in there. A bit of green. Some nice yellow on there. A nice yellow. It's just sort of mixed in with the other muddy colours I've got on there. And the same on the other side. Light red's a very, very useful colour, but not on its own. You have to modify it. Now, don't want it too heavy. See what I mean about the dry brush? It's very hard. It goes a solid wash rather than a dry brush effect. Get that across there. Okay, that seems alright. Right, now a bit of a cloud shadow, so blue and red, a bit of yellow. Right, that bit. Now I can't really think of much else to do. I could probably put some rigger strokes in there. Bit of a greeny, umbery mix. Just add a few. It's good to mix the hard black with the transparency of the watercolour, because it just takes the contrast away a little bit. Right, now we've got to put these shadows in here. Nice big one here. Shadow in here. Right, that'll do. I can't think of anything else obviously. Very simple. Everything in this was in the drawing, of course. I'll put it in a mount. It's not dark enough. I spent a lot of yesterday finishing off all the 10 paintings that I'm putting into an exhibition. If you're around the Dorking area, the first 2 weeks in April, the Dorking at Surrey Hills. Dorking is a place called Denby's. Denby's is a fabulous winery, and it has a marvellous exhibition space, conference centre, restaurants. Lovely place to go and visit if you're anywhere near South London. It's not far. It's very well known, and with 9 other artists we're exhibiting for 2 weeks, so come and say hello. 2 of my YouTube demonstrations are going in, but the others are oil paintings, I'm putting in oil landscapes. But I must admit I haven't done any oil painting since I started this project a year or so ago. And I'm enjoying this. I'm loving the watercolours. I just wish I was better at it, but anyway. There we are, that's the finished painting. Let's have a zoom. I'm going into this. I didn't labour. Oh, right, I'll have to go on to the automatic focus if I know. Oh, that's it. Right. So that's my shadow cast. There. It's a bit of a hedge, little hedgerow on that side. The figure, distance, distant hills, bit of ivy and rubbish in the trunks. And there we have it. Right, zoom out. Oops. There, I quite like that. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.